Hey guys, Nate from Naked Gamer here today, and I'm here with a Victoria 2 Empire review. So yeah, haven't done one of these in a while, but I'm here now doing one. So this one, it may look a bit different. Might be used to the old Victoria 2, but this is actually a mod, the slash GSG mod, slash GSG slash mod. Sorry, I'll put a link in the description, but it's a really cool mod. Yeah, just as you can see, it changes a lot of this mappy stuff around. If you can see, like you might be confused, why is half of Africa countries now? It does look a bit. At first, I was like, nah, I don't really like this, but no, actually, it's pretty good. I'll put a link in the description so you guys can download it. But in essence, this mod is adds lots of flavor, historical flavor. Um, I think it's actually a mixture of mods, if I'm correct. Um, yeah, so I reckon it makes this game. It just brings out so much potential that this game had and makes it even better. I mean, not saying Victoria 2 is a bad game at all, but just it makes its potential even greater. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. This empire review will be my Yugoslavian empire. So let's load the save. Takes a while because it is pretty big and went to 30th December. So yeah, it looks pretty weird from here. Let's get a closer look. Might take a while to play. So this game went for about. I started it maybe last week. I started Serbia, of course, because there's no way I'm going to be playing as Montenegro. Maybe that's another idea, but anyway. Apart from that, so yeah, here's my empire. Ignore those peasant rabble. It's actually a Republican Guard. So let's start with discussing what's happened in Europe. So Germany. Oh, Germany. Yeah, I'm not sure if this video will get banned or anything. Hope it doesn't, cause anyway. So yeah, Europe. Jeez. It's a pretty different game in Europe, apart from my normal vanilla Victoria 2 games. Like I think Germany formed rather um well I would say early. Um but it was around 18, it was around the normal time, but normally in oh sorry, they formed late, that's what I meant. They formed late around 1880. So yeah, it was North German Confed pretty early. I think it was actually 1852, if I remember correctly. Not in real life, but in this game, North German Confed formed. Federation, yeah, I think it's Federation. So they formed, and then they stayed kind of like that. They went to, I think, three Franco-Prussian wars, and then eventually, yeah, on that third time they finally got Alsace-Lorraine, which I think was, yeah, one of a really big war, which sort of shaped the history of Europe. Um, but yeah, Franco-Prussian War, and so they got try to say this, Alsace-Lothringen, Lothringen again. I don't even know. So yeah, and that was handy, and they've made Germany. And of course now they're Nazi, because there is an event in this game. I don't even know what it is. So yeah, as you can see, a lot of events embrace Greeks. Um, a lot of individual nation events. You could play as Switzerland, and there'd be maybe a few new events and decisions. So it really adds a lot to the game. Um, Even as Krakow, I was trying Krakow, and they had a lot of decisions that for just that tiny little one province nation. No offense, Krakow, but I mean it's pretty good. It's got some coal, 100k. That's pretty good. Yeah, there was a decision, and it was to, because I'm fascist. Yes, I am fascist. National Front. Um, there was a decision um to destroy the tower Statue of Liberty in New York. Hang on, wait. Spoiler alert. I'll just pretend you didn't see that. Anyway, um, and so yeah, I did it because I wasn't sure what was gonna happen, and then I think it was it had a list of one of the effects was that it there was coups in in tons of countries in like all the great powers capitals. So France went fascist coups, I should say. So France went fascist. Germany did. Italy was already fascist in the first place. Russia were not. I'll explain why, but you could probably already see. Nationalist China went fascist. Japan was already fascist. Who else? I think the United States was already fascist as well. That must be it. And let's go on to great powers. Yeah, that was it. That was who went fascist, and so that was interesting. Didn't really expect that to happen, but Germany's got their Nazi flag, and France has got their Vichy flag, and Nationalist China's got their flag, and yeah, it's pretty weird here. Just saying. So yeah, that's Europe. So we've got some fascists here. France did okay, not okay as in they did okay as in they didn't get steamrolled by Germany, but yeah. Carlos Spain, so they, did their thing, and then they didn't do anything else for the rest of the game. They did, I think they attempted to get back Cuba, but they never did, and they lost all the colonies, except they do have Malay, which is and oh yeah, and quite a bit of Africa. I think they also had like sort of Niger area here before they got taken off in. I think there was like 6 world wars in this game. Yeah, there were a lot of world wars, but they did have a quite impressive Colonial game, which is impressive for secondary power. Portugal, nothing to mention. In fact, well, they're in the sphere of nationalist China, which is pretty weird. UK always finishes first. Oh no, Nazi Germany did, but yeah, UK always playing the safe game. They've got tons of allies, tons of puppets, and never really conquered anything. But they did take a lot of colonial lands, and so yeah, did form South Africa. Didn't colonize Zimbabwe for some reason, which is weird. They released all these. Australia's communist, didn't know that. Italy went socialist for a while. They were breathing on my neck for most of the end game, but we sort of stayed friends, seeming that I was allied with Germany. I was like the Hungary of, if you remember Hungary from World War II, was kind of like Italy held some resentment against the Hungarians because they were, sort of the lesser right. I mean, Germany did as well, but they were sort of caught up in an alliance. Same as Japan as well. It was sort of an alliance of convenience rather than an alliance of agreeing ideologies. But anyway, so yeah, Eastern Europe, Austria just got smashed by me and Germany, except they never actually took any land. But yeah, there was just a massive. It took so long, but I think it was around the 1900s. I actually started a world war from when I just simply fabricated a claim on Central Hungary while allied with Italy and Germany. Decided to go after it. UK joined on my side. Russia joined against me. France joined against me. We just steamrolled. Ended up taking Transdanubia, which propelled me up to 8th power actually. And Banat was released, and yeah, that was actually the end of the Russian Empire. They brought that upon themselves because we eventually kicked Austria out of the war because they weren't the leader, and they got these two, and Germany got that. But they're in my sphere though. I don't know why they were. Germany added the war goal. And then France pieced out. I think Netherlands was in it. I don't even. Yeah, Netherlands was against us. I think. I don't know. They just got a ton of prestige taken off. Russia was just dismantled. Like we were sieging all the way to Siberia, and they were literally just they want the Germany. One of the peace things in world wars in this game is dismantlement of empires, which basically gets you to release a ton of for 100 wars, so it gets you to release a ton of nations. So Poland's gone. It did release the 3 Baltic nations, but they just united into United Baltic Duchy, which is cool. Belarus, which got Minsk taken off from Ukraine. Ukraine, yep. And Moldova was released, but Romania, my trusty puppet, was took that. And Transcaucasia, which was all these nations here, which did what these guys did and formed into one union. And they actually got the Kars region from a war I went to with the Ottomans. Right after that war, I went to get the East Macedonia and East Rumelia. Before I move on to Asia, because it's a big mess here, I'll just explain how I got like all these Greek and Balkan nations without giving so much. I mean, obviously I do have a lot of infamy, but the reason that the way I did it was you can actually, if you puppet or sphere certain nations in the Balkans as Yugoslavia, you can actually invite them into the Union of Yugoslavia. So I did that with I didn't do it with Montenegro. I did do it with Bulgaria because they were my puppet. They were released in a war, and so I just went over and puppeted them. I couldn't do it with Romania though. That's not an option, unfortunately. But I did do that with Slovenia, Croatia, a lot of nations. Bosnia, nah, I think Montenegro and Bosnia I just stormed right through because I had a restore order casus belli, so that was all easy, and they were just released, so they had no allies. I did that to Greece, but you have to be a great power and sphere them as well. So I only just recently did this in the 1900s, so at least it looks mighty good. That's a Balkan Empire if I've ever seen one. So yeah, and we pushed the Ottomans back into the Thrace, the Edrine, Edrine. Was that Edrine? I don't even know. There's Edrine. Yeah, Edrine. So yeah, that's Europe, and that's yeah. So I definitely Serbia was pretty boring at the start, but once it started going, and I got the Russian, there's tons of events and stuff for Serbia now in a lot of countries. So once I got the Eastern Question and the wait, is it Eastern Question? Oh no, Sick Man of Europe. Russia came to my protection, and we just steamrolled. They got all my cores back. They created a great Yugoslav empire. And so we'll move on to Asia now. So Kazakhstan, yep, they were released, and they're my puppet. So nationalist China, yeah, they China was just in complete disarray. I think it was Guangdong, if that's how you pronounce it. It's a nation down here. Where is it? Guangdong Klai? Guangdong. And they sort of started uniting. They were the first Chinese to westernize. They started sort of uniting and annexing all these things. Not China, of course, because they were allied with Britain, I think, actually. They were allied with Britain. Apart from them taking all these lands, there must have been something happened there which they agreed to, but they started uniting all these lands, and then they eventually went on. They were powerful enough to take on China itself. They took over a lot of land and just declared themselves nationalist China. And they weren't initially fascist; they were monarchist, or what do you call it? Constitutional monarchy or something like that. And so they, did all that. There's this weird thing over here, Vatican cliche, which is click. I think that's how you say it. Which is I think that was actually released from the war. And then there's this Yugoslavian Kamchatka. And I didn't even notice this until about 5 years ago. I saw this in the map. I was so confused. I had no idea this was my satellite, and I got that in the war. So massive questions, and I don't know how this isn't even a country. I don't even know I had this in the war, but and also Alaska's a mess. Japan something must have happened with Russia and Japan, because Japan ended up owning this place, and then after a war, the Dutch took some of it, and the Chinese, nationalist Chinese, took some of it, and it's just real messy. I hate it. Oh, I would actually go to war just to fix this up. It's so annoying. Yeah, Japan used to be quite a big empire, but they were just dismantled in a war. Kind of like how Russia did. They got Taipei taken off them. I think they had Malay actually, and Oh, they still have some colonies. They did have, yeah, they did have quite a lot in Siam and all that sort of area. They did have Philippines as well, and some Pacific colonies. But apart from that, they're not really that notable. Apart from still being great power. British took Korea before Japan even had a chance, so not really much avenues to expand into China proper. Although they did, when nationalist China was weak against the Guangdong, they did annex China, and they had like this weird worm thing going up here, and then that eventually got dismantled along with their empire. Moving out to the subcontinent of India. Yeah, so pretty standard game. Of course, Britain blob in India, like they always do. They managed to get the Sikh Empire down into their sphere of influence and puppetdom as well. I am actually in the sphere of influence of Afghanistan, which makes no sense. And nationalist China. This was actually still owned by Russia, but something must have happened and they got this somehow. They just got ceded to them. So they've got Turkmenistan and all that. I would have thought Iran would get it. I don't know why Iran changed their name. They're still semi-constitutional monarchy, but I think they just changed. It must be an event for Persia, which I think I might play them as them next with this mod. I haven't done an Iranian game yet in vanilla or on this mod, so yeah, I'll try that out next. Ottomans, they did pretty well in the Oriental Crisis. It was a swift war, and they did take the Levant back. They did take some colonies here. They even had gotten edged, but I think the British took that off them. Didn't notice this, but Germany and Nazi Germany have Qatar, Doha, and the British have Bahrain. Bahrain, I think that's how you say it. I'm not too sure. I have no idea. Oh well, I guess the British have sphered them, but I have no idea why you wouldn't want to conquer them. Oman looks good. Yeah, I should have really focused on that Arabian game. Maybe I should do another Arabian Empire, second Arabian Empire in the yeah, maybe starting as I think they do start pretty weak still, even weaker than in vanilla. I don't think I'll go through all the stress again. But yeah, pretty good game. Ottomans did have actually managed to get a dean off the British, which the British owned, but I'm no clue how they ended up getting it, despite being like really weak militarily. I was only on I think 50 military power, and I was still able to defeat the Ottomans though, so they are pretty crap when it comes to military. Africa. This is the one I'm so excited to tell you guys about because this is like they say every empire must have its colonies. Well, I know who says that, but I said it. All empires must have its colonies, and yeah, I do have some colonies. Not too shabby, but have Yugoslav Libya with a puppet of Tunis. So that was cool. I was planning to get southern Italy, but Germany. Yeah, so you can't really get past Germany in that. Although they're only a fourth, but they're first in everything else. So, and no one even colonized West Morocco. So yeah, I did manage to do that, and I did actually satellite Morocco, but they just broke away. I think like 4 times, and I just repuppet them, but it wasn't even worth keeping them. So I just let them go. I mean, they did have oil, but nah. Who needs oil when you got Turkish slaves? Yeah, I got some Turkish slaves. Speaking about Turkish slaves, there is a decision every time I get more land to remove kebab, and it appears to be quite an aggressive one. It removes 65% of Turkish population, but it does give you assimilation rate growth and all that sort of good stuff. So I know I did it a few times, but it was still an interesting decision they've added. Ottoman's got this. I did want to go to war just for these colonies to make it look good, but unfortunately can't get past that infamy. Well, I could have probably. I do have some allies like Germany. They wouldn't care. Britain. There. Britain. That's all. That's all you need to know. Nah, they did pretty well in their colonial game. Normally they just get like one colony and France just gets the rest, but no, this is pretty good. France actually did the worst, I reckon. Apart from, yeah, they did the worst by far. They got Egypt and they had a good start, but they just lost Sudan to an independence war, and that was just too depressing for them. Sweden actually have a colony, didn't know that. I did release Aswa to relieve some infamy, which is useful. They're still primitive though, but they are a fascist dictatorship, which makes no sense. Uh, anyway, despite that, Abyssinia and Somaliland still survive, and Ghana. Didn't think Ghana would, but yeah, they did. And this nation here, I have no idea why they're still on the map. They should have been wiped off. Nazi Germany have a colony. This is the only German colony I can see, which is sad. Portuguese did. They actually lost land, I think. No, they did. They kept land. They did what they usually do. British released South Africa. French Madagascar. Same old, same old. The British actually got this in World War, so that's pretty good. Let's move over to South America, where Chile has actually, they did colonize this sort of place here because it's free to colonize at the start of the game, and I'm guessing upon that they've actually conquered some of the land, Rio Negro and Patagonia Septentrional. Yeah, they've actually got those. So Argentina is a small purple blob now, and they're actually fascist, as is Chile. Brazil's still a democracy, good on them. As are these guys. Uruguay's fascist. Peru's proletarian. That's neat. Neat flag. Their dictatorship. Democracy, and their colonies. Fascist, democracy. Wow, it's really weird seeing Honduras and El Salvador and Guatemala being democracies. Normally they just immediately flip into presidential, and Costa Rica normally are always democracies. That's not usual. Haiti, haven't seen them go fascist ever before, and Cuba, yeah, they're usually dictatorships. And this brings me to Mexico, which are same old. This brings me to the US. Now, this is probably the weirdest US game I've ever seen. So basically, what happened was the United States went communist, and they formed the People's America or something like that. That's what it was called. And then there's some rebelling happens, some liberal and thing happens, some liberal rebellion. That's what you call it. Revolution happens, and then there's a country called that forms called the Free States of America, and they own like the Midwest. They own here and like sort of up here, and then there's Confederation New England actually had their bit up here, and CSA was also released, and they had a lot less. There's like a massive gaping hole here. They didn't even own all this. They were pretty far down here, and so there was three, and the U.S., the People's Republic of America, was like in the West. So they had three powers. It was like, I don't know, it reminded me of Fallout because it was like three powers, and yeah, it's interesting to look at when I wasn't doing anything. And eventually, as I'm looking, these free states, they're like gobbling up. I think they got up to like here to Wyoming. They started gobbling up the People's Republic, and then these guys were still democratic. The fascist thing was these guys were democratic, and then they went fascist, and these guys were communist, and then they went fascist. But then the CSA started gobbling up these free states, and then eventually the United States of America, the fascist states, started. They eventually just had the casus belli to had the ability to eat the free states up whole. And they did that, and then the CSA just wrecked them every time they go to war, even though I mean, they have fairly similar military techs, but yeah, war after war, the CSA just win outright, and that's why they got New York. In fact, they're a great power, and the US are not. So, interesting game in America, USA. And at the start of the game, Idaho and Washington were taken by the British, and they're put as part of British Canada. So US once went to war with them, and they sieged out like full on carpet siege Canada, and they pieced out. They were like they were like +10. Oh no, the British were -10 war score, and they still pieced out for Idaho. So USA was so bad, the AI at least. But Canada was released, as was Iceland. Flanders was released for quite some time, and then they were gobbled up by the Netherlands. So I don't really know much to say. That's pretty much all that's happened in this game. Well, that's all that can happen. There's 1 day left in the game. Sweden did nothing of notability apart from colonizing this little bit of Eritrea. But apart from that, I just want to say thank you for watching this. More of this will be coming soon as I have a bit more time to play this mod, and I'll see what I can do. If you guys want to suggest some people to play as, because I can always accept suggestions. I'm thinking about maybe Persia this time, but I'll see what you guys think, and I'll have a try. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next video, and there should be a E4 video being uploaded right now, probably before this. So I'll see you guys when we do the next Empire review.